Hello, students. Today we continue our journey to teach you how to classify goods, how to assign the 10-digit code number we will need in our customs declaration. And we're going to go over a method that was developed by a Japanese author. We'll get there. And this method, you need, like anything else, you need a lot of practice. You also need to do a lot of research before you attempt to classify a good. And with time, you become an expert. You become an expert. Sometimes you become an expert in certain chapters, certain sections. There are companies that will divide the raters depending on the type of commodity because the amount of time you need to research and to read uh, literature on that commodity or on that chapter. But let's go baby steps. So who is responsible for maintaining the HS code or the harmonized commodity code? Well, that will be the WCO, the Customs Organization. This is a system that has been implemented, a tool has been implemented in more than 200 countries. The first digits are international, are the same in all countries. In Canada, Finance Canada will add the 6th and the 7th digit. And the last two digits are for Statistic Canada to kind of feed their data, their Statistical Canada data. Let's put an example. If we want to bring a bicycle, and in this material, you'll see a lot of reference to bicycles and tricycles and things like that. But if I'm going to bring a bicycle, I would classify it under 871200. That is dependent on the diameter of the wheel. If I look internationally, the first six are the same, yeah, 871200. But then the country specific changes. We can see Canada, that is 0030. We have USA, 1550. We have Japan, 2109. And then we have Nigeria with 9000. So it is, the last digits will be specific to that country on regards to the data they want to collect or how they want to present their information. The important thing is that when we're doing international transportation, we'll look into the first 6 digits of my HS code. How is the structure of the tariff code or the HS code? Well, the first two is what we call a chapter, yeah. Then we got a heading. Then we have subheading up to 6 digit. This is the one that we say is international. And then we start calling it a tariff item up to the 8th. And the full 10 in Canada will be, the last 2 digits will be managed by Stats Canada. There's certain commodities, certain classifications that do not have up to the last like the last two are 00, yeah. That means that Canada does not have any interest in kind of going further on the data they want to collect on that commodity. I'm sure you have found it very challenging to classify, and do not feel like you're alone in the world. There are a lot of challenges in HS classification. For example, sometimes there's a lot of ambiguity in the product description. Like, what is this product itself? Yeah. Or maybe how you want to define the product. Yeah. Also, how complex is this good? Is it for a multi-use product? What is the primary function of this of this good. And so there is a frequent updates on the amendments on the ETIAS code. Yeah, it's not something that remains in time like the same. It's usually a lot of frequent additions, or sometimes they modify certain rulings, and you have to be updated. You have to keep yourself updated on this terminology. Now, there are several resources that can help you to determine the HS classification. In Canada, we have a DMemo that is explains exactly what is the method in Canada to classify the goods. It's a good reading to have. And then we have the method that we're going to start using today. It's a method, it's a 6 steps method that you can use. And then we are going to go over the WTO explanatory notes and also the advanced rulings database. So the DMemo 10.13.1, by the way, you can find it on the CBSA website under the customs D memoranda. Basically, this D memo says that the structure of the tariff, how it is based on 10 digits. So the first two is a chapter. Then we have, first of all, we have sections, chapters, subchapters, subheadings, and then the heading is a 4-digit number. The subheading a 6-digit number. Then we have up to the tariff item, it's 8-digit number, and the last 2 digits are statistical, the same that we just mentioned before. Then there are certain classification rules that goods must be classified on the specific terms of the headings and relevant notes, that incomplete or mixed goods are categorized according to the essential character or of the complete product. And when multiple classifications apply, you must apply the most specific description to your good. Then it also mentions the GR rule that we saw last class, the 6 GR rules. I'm not going to go over them again. And then mentions the Canadian rules, that in certain chapters, certain sections, you will have a specific Canadian rule, but when there's an international rule, the international rule will roll over the Canadian one. Then the classification process they mentioned to follow is to go through the structure of the tariff, like how much manufacturer has to go into the section. Then go to the chapter, then move to the heading, subheading, until you get to the tariff item. Then they also mention something that we haven't spoken yet, and that is when you have a quota, you have a tariff quota, there's certain HS code when you go over access that should not be used or within access. You have to be careful. You must use it only if you have a valid permit to use that classification. Yeah. And then they also mentioned chapter 97 and 98. These 2 chapters are for specific classification provisions, and they are based on particular conditions. We have a class just on those 2 chapters. Now, which is the method to classify the goods? So this is a method that I took from Kawoshi Taiki. He has a book called Visual Search for HS Classification. You can find him in the LinkedIn. You can find him in LinkedIn. You can actually buy the book, and you will see a lot of materials, a lot of pictures. He has like a visual search for HS classification. He uses a lot of international database. He is an expert in HS classification, and I really like how he broke down the method. So he has a 6-step method. The first one will be to describe your good. Yeah, describe your good. What we did last class, right? What is this? What is this good? What is essential use? Is there some gender use? What is the material? What is the essential character of this good? You have to kind of know exactly what you're classifying. Then you need to identify which are the relevant chapters and sections that will apply to that good, if it's more than one. Yeah, if it's not as mentioned, if you have a mix of goods or components in your good, how many chapters and sections could apply to this good? Then you should be reading any notes that are available on your sections and chapters to that specific good. Then you should move on into using the GR rules. What are the GR rules? And then remember, you must use them in sequential order from number 1 to 6. Then choose the correct heading. And lastly, use GR Rule 6. That GR Rule 6 basically tells you to use up to the subheading, and that is more applicable to the good. But let's put this in practice. Let's see how it looks and actually how it works. Let's say you have been asked to classify a tricycle. Yeah, a tricycle. And then we start with step 1. Step 1 is describe the product, or maybe kind of break down the description of this product. Yeah. At the beginning, this is a process that you start slowly. With time, it comes just natural to you. In this case, let's say, well, the material will be a mix of steel, rubber, plastic. Yeah. The gender use, it's a general use. Yeah, there's no specific gender for this type of product. Not because it's pink we can say it's for girls, or the color wouldn't be something that we can say it's essential to the use of the product. Yeah, the intended use, however, it is for children, to use as a toy or as a transportation item, and it has 3 wheels, or we can basically say also it's a tricycle. Good. Step 1 done. Now let's move to step 2. Step 2 is identifying the relevant sections and chapters that could apply to this product. So I have chapter section 17, that is for vehicles, and chapter 20, that is miscellaneous manufactured articles. So under section 17, I have vehicles, that is chapter 87, and under section 20, I have chapter 95, that is toys. So now I have to decide which one should I proceed. So let's go to step 3. Step 3 is asking to read the relevant notes of the sections and chapters. Read the relevant note. If I read the chapter 87, I will see that heading 8712, yeah, includes children bicycles. Okay. Other children cycles will fall under chapter and under subheading 9503. Yeah. Good. That's great. It's giving me a lot of information. What about chapter 95? What does it say? Well, it says that it does not cover any type of children's bicycles. Yeah, and also it does not exclude tricycles. So knowing this, I am coming to the conclusion that chapter 95 is the chapter that I should be looking for. Yeah, because like I mentioned before, chapter 87 did say that other cycles will be under chapter 95. Okay, so step 4 is use the heading of, the titles, for reference. So the reference for 9503 is tricycle. Is so, it's very clear that I'm on the right side. Like this is where I should be, under this side. Yeah. Uh, and also it says that is tricycles, scooters, pedals. Basically, it's under chapter 95. Okay. Step 5 tells me choose the correct heading. 950300 is for wheel toys designed to be ridden by children. For examples, tricycles, scooters, pedal cars, and doll carriages. Oh, okay, so I am so sure I'm on the right path. Let's go to step number 6. That tells me, okay, now you have to complete the 10 digit. The 95030010. Tricycle is even mentioned here. Tricycle. So congratulations, we got to our final classification of 9503001010. Wonderful. Yeah, it looks like a simple method, and it is when I have all the information I need, when I know the description of the good, when I go over the chapter notes, when I go over the section notes, and I find information. It's kind of very clear where to go. It's not always the case I will have this. What happens if now I change product and I have now this item? Yeah. So it's a mix also of steel, plastic, and rubber. It's still same general use. The intended use can be as a toy or as a transportation item. Yeah. Um, but this time it has 2 wheels, and now they've given me the diameter of the wheels, 56 centimeters. But I already read the chapter notes, and it did say that bicycles, because this is a bicycle, has 2 wheels, is classified under chapter 87. I already know that because I saw it before. Okay, since I know that, I will go into my chapter 87 and I will look for the right heading and subheading, and I have the mention of bicycles. Yeah. And it does mention tricycles here, but that will be delivery tricycles, very different from what I had on my first example. So great. Now, when I go to the last step, that is kind of looking into the last digits, it gives me more, I'm gonna say problem, because it's asking me, okay, you have to be more specific on the diameter of your good. So that's when knowing your product comes into place, knowing exactly what you're dealing with. Yeah. Okay, I did see that the diameter was 56 centimeters, remember? So that will fall under number 20. Bicycles with both wheels having a diameter exceeding 48 centimeters but not exceeding 58. And the one that I have on my picture says 56. So I'm safe to say that this will be the right classification. Good for you guys. So now you are an expert if you keep on using that method. When we don't have that amount of information or so clear, or we have doubt, there are tools that WCO will provide, and one of them will be the explanatory notes. Explanatory notes are a comment on each heading. It gives you a list of main products that tells you what is included and excluded. Also gives you technical description of the good, how it looks, the properties, the production, the use, and you should be using the explanatory notes to look into particular subheadings. If you want to use this tool, you can go to the WCO Trade Tools. This is the link, but you need a subscription to access this. And so by subscription, I mean pay. Yeah, you need to pay something. I don't remember how much it is actually. But good news, we have a good news for you. Seneca does offer a free consultation of a library. This library is the CAR library, is the Customs Automated Reference Library. You can use the library to access the explanatory notes. You just have to go into your Seneca library and type Carl, and then it will come. I will show you a video of how to do it. To access the CAR Plus automated reference library, all you have to do is get yourself into the Seneca libraries, type Carl, C-A-R-L, and then click on the link. Down below, it gives you guidelines for electronic resources, what is acceptable, not acceptable, and then you can go into Proceed to Carl Plus. And here is this is a library of publication of customs. So down here under, well, you have the D memos, you have advanced rulings, we're going to talk right now. But for now, let's access the WCO material. And under here, you see explanatory notes. And here you go by section that you want to access. So let's say we had mentioned that we were going to work on the furniture. Here is the explanatory notes for furniture that we had mentioned in class we were going to talk about. To access the card, so an example of that explanatory notes, if I go and use the Carl for subheading 940131, that is swivel chairs with a wood frame, it gives me a good description of the item that would be classified here. It tells me that they have adjustment chairs, having chairs that can revolve, in some cases tilt. It also says that they have a back, and the back may tilt to the seat. Most of the area of the seat also, and also of the back, if applicable, should be of wood. and the seat is raised or lowered by now hydraulic gas cylinder or screw, and they could have or not wheels. So this is an example of how an explanatory note can clarify a definition of a product and can clarify if it will fall under that particular subheading or not. Now, I want you to go into the asynchronous exercise I posted. It's a very simple exercise. It's just to get you used to the Carl explanatory notes, and also look into an advanced ruling for a particular item that is on your exercise note. Okay, I will see you next class, guys. Bye.